Hey, it is Mitchell, and this is going to be the first of kind of a new series I'm going to be having on this channel, or a reoccurring theme where I wanted to do raw, more podcast-esque videos that aren't edited, that is just me with some brief notes, sitting down, talking to you guys, expressing some of my thoughts about either a subject, a topic, or an issue relating to either tech or video equipment. Before we get into the video, I would like to thank Backblaze. If you are a photo or video creator and you don't have your assets, being your photo and your video, backed up in at least two places, don't make the same mistake that I did and pay for some type of cloud backup service. You don't have to use Backblaze, you don't have to use my affiliate link, but after living in Asia for a year and shooting almost over 4 terabytes of photos and videos, I recently lost it all because I was too cheap to spend the 50 bucks a year to have everything backed up to the cloud with Backblaze. I have recently done a video about their service, about why I chose to purchase their service, and I'll have a link to it up here, and I will have an affiliate link to Backblaze in the description down below. The subject of today's video is going to be the upcoming Nikon mirrorless camera and why I personally think it's going to be a flop. Now, I can already hear the Nikon fans downvoting the video and typing angry comments, but I just want to be completely transparent. Nikon was the first camera company that I ever, well, actually it was Minolta, but that's the days of my father shooting film. But Nikon was the first digital camera that I got to ever spend much time with. And I've been using Nikon cameras more or less since 2005 and since the introduction of the Nikon D7DS. To this day, I am a diehard and devoted Nikon enthusiast. I love their products. I love the ergonomics of their products. I love the way their products feel in my hand. I love the build quality of the lenses. And I see a lot of people that are either holding out on a switch to Sony, or a lot of people who are putting a lot of faith that the next Nikon mirrorless camera that they come out with is going to be great. And I really hope that it is going to be great. I would love for Nikon to have a product that is compelling enough and versatile enough that it brings me back into the Nikon world, because I hate Sony ergonomics. I hate the Sony lens selection, and I'm not the biggest fan of Sony color. But I just wanted to address a couple of things with this as to why I think the next Nikon is going to flop. Nikon, and now everything I say is not going to be Nikon specific necessarily. I'll do a separate video about Canon's upcoming mirrorless camera and how I feel about that in regards to the rumors and specs and what my expectations are. But the first reason that I think the next Nikon mirrorless camera is going to flop is that Nikon is late to the mirrorless party, and as photographers and as electronics consumers, which, like it or not, if you own a digital camera, you are a electronics consumer. First generation products, by and large, are not that great. They are usually plagued with issues. They are normally rushed to market. And with how quickly Nikon has kind of pushed up the release of this camera, I am afraid that no matter how much I want to put faith in Nikon coming out with a great product on their first attempt, I don't see this first generation product being complete in regards to addressing the needs, wants, and desires of the modern hybrid shooter. And the reality with the current mirrorless revolution, evolution, whatever you want to call it, is that because of platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, Instagram, it's now easier to distribute video content and generate that video content. So everybody wants to become a video creator and everybody wants to start creating video. And ultimately, the strength of Sony cameras, and even Fuji to a lesser extent, is their versatility in regards to being a more than competent stills camera, but also being an excellent choice for video. For the hardcore photographers there that don't have a size and weight constraint, that don't have a budgetary constraint, a conventional Nikon DSLR is still an excellent, and in my opinion, and in many ways, one of the best options out there. Matt Granger did a recent video about why his, for lack of a better term, daily driver is the Nikon D850. And from the feedback that I've had from my peers and friends that own D850s, I can clearly understand why he thinks it's such a complete and well-rounded stills device. But at the end of the day, the D850 is still a photo-first camera. While I know a lot of video shooters that still shoot Nikon are waiting for the Nikon Mirrorless to be announced to see what the video specs are, to be honest, I'm guessing that it's going to be a stills first camera, and based on Nikon's history, it will. And that's going to kind of bring me into the next point, which is Nikon does not have a video pedigree. Now, I know I've mentioned this in other videos, but when I talk about a video pedigree, I'm really referring to the history, the technology, and the experience that companies like Panasonic, like Sony, like Canon even to a lesser extent have in making video equipment. And Nikon just does not have that experience. They do not have that pedigree to instill much faith in me that their next camera is going to be revolutionary or evolutionary or a significant step forward in regards to its video capabilities. The third reason why I'm predicting that the next Nikon mirrorless will be a flop is that, knowing Nikon, they are going to prioritize build quality and ergonomics over size and weight. And this is something that for some people will clearly be a plus, and for others it will clearly be a minus. Sony's put a huge emphasis on size and form factor over ergonomics. Most people would say that the ergonomics of the A7 line of cameras is less than stellar. They're getting better. The ergonomics of the A6500 are, in my experience, less than stellar, but they have a phenomenal form factor. Being able to have a APS-C size sensor that with its kit lens can be essentially stuffed into the pocket of a big jacket is absolutely revolutionary, right, in regards to the capabilities that this camera can have for its size. And because Nikon is a stills first company, and because they are one of the most established photographic companies in the world, I see Nikon appealing to a lot of their current user base that values ergonomics, that values a magnesium alloy, chassis and build. And I don't see Nikon placing that much emphasis on making their camera small and light. On top of that, from press pictures, which I'll break what I said earlier and throw one of the press pictures up, it doesn't seem that whatever Nikon mirrorless camera is coming is going to be that much smaller than a conventional DSLR. And we're probably looking at something a little bit bigger than the Sony A7 series. That is specifically why I said that for some people, this will be a plus, and for some people, this will be a minus. Because Nikon is going to place an emphasis on the ergonomics of their next camera at the sacrifice of size and weight. To summarize this video, I'm going to quote the great American philosopher Jalen Rose. And for anyone that listens to his podcast, shout out to you. Happiness is a function of expectations. And as it currently sits, there is so much excitement, there's so much hype, and there's so much buildup being based on Nikon beating Canon to the punch of releasing the first mirrorless camera from Nikon or Canon, and on what the expectations of this camera are, I see a lot of people being disappointed. Don't at me in the comment section down below. I'm fully aware that Nikon had their 1 series cameras that were a complete and total flop for the most part. I don't consider something the size of the Nikon 1 series camera to be even remotely in the same league as an APS-C or as a full frame mirrorless camera. And I'd just like to reiterate that I am a Nikon fan, that I do have a long history of using Nikon products. But the Nikon video shooters that have commented on all my prior videos about gimbals and Nikons and whatnot, I think you're really going to be disappointed. I don't see Nikon releasing a camera with 4K 60, which is something that would really interest me. I don't see Nikon releasing a camera that's going to be able to do video at more than 100 bits a second. I don't see the next Nikon camera having phenomenal video autofocus or video autofocus that performs in a way that video shooters find aesthetically pleasing in the same way Canon's dual pixel AF does. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I would be really interested to know what your expectations are. I'd be really interested to know what you're currently shooting with. I would also really like to know if you are one of the people that is a holdout for the Nikon mirrorless camera because you do shoot video. What are you expecting? What would you need from Nikon to stay with the black and gold? And finally, what are some standout features that you are looking forward to seeing? This is going to be an end to the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you disagree with me, I would love to know why. If you leave a articulate and well-constructed comment in the comment section down below, you know I'm going to be responding to them. And if you would like to make this conversation go even further, go ahead and take a look at my Facebook group, Travel Tubers. I think I'll start a discussion up there. Until next time, it's been Mitchell, an ex-Nikon devotee. Peace.